Hey y'all, I'm Jim. Welcome to Sunrise Farm. As you may see right here, we have some fresh meat. This is my youngest son, Joshua. My two sons and I are the farm, if you will, our families.
Well, the
Uh, he,
Suns.
you're the sons? Sort of. That's not the son in mind for the name. But anyway, he just recently got married, so his new bride is going to be part of the farm. Of course, my wife's part of the farm. So this is a family farm for sure. And it's something that I hope to pass down to him and his brother as part of their heritage, inheritance, maybe even if you will. And so he's going to help me today. We're going to be making some changes to the farm. You know, I've already kind of highlighted my woes, if you will, of Tropical Storm Debbie, how much it wiped out some of our crops, and we're kind of almost in a reboot mode. Um, Praise the Lord, we only lost about half of our tomatoes, and the other half are going strong. Those red snappers I've shown you in previous videos, the okra's going strong, and we got some new things growing, so it's coming back together. Of course, like any other thing, almost all plants take anywhere from 60 to 90 days to grow out. A couple of short day products like arugula and mustard and radishes, those are about 25, 30 days, somewhere in there, but we're making some progress. It's going to take a little bit of time, but today I'm going to highlight one of the changes we're making. You can kind of see in the background that we're getting the basis start for just a inexpensive greenhouse. This is a 10 by 20 greenhouse from Vevor. That's Vevor. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I don't even know. First time we're trying their products. So far so good. We got a delivery of it and everything seems to be in the box. So far that's always a plus. So we're gonna see how this goes together and then kind of show you the process and the end result. And yeah, go from there. We're just gonna try to make these changes. I got some tractor trailer load of compost coming this week, and we're gonna start turning everything into raised rows. Um, I can't go through, we have a hurricane season down here in the South, in South Carolina, and that tropical storm, even though it didn't amass to a hurricane, the winds and the 30 hours of rain, and actually in total about a week long rain, it did us in with some flooding and standing water. Even though our property doesn't really do that much, it sure did it then. So we're gonna make some changes so that we can kind of hopefully prevent and control that in the future. And I'm trying to make these changes to try to get as close to weed free as you possibly can on a farm. So anyway, we're gonna get started. You want to say anything?
It's going to be a fun day.
Going to be a fun day. Fortunately for us today, it's only going to be a high of about 80 degrees. It's very overcast, as you can probably tell in the video. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to stop the gnats and the mosquitoes. But yeah, so we're going to get started. Stay tuned. All right, the frame is now up and assembled. We still have to tighten all of the bolts, but I will stop here and just kind of say, like I said, I got this off of Beaver. It is 10 feet wide, 20 feet long, 7 feet high at the peak. So it's kind of small. The canvas that you'll see goes on it, in this case, is white, but they also make it in green. It was about $160. And so for $160, it's kind of like, to me, how can you go wrong? I needed a place just to be able to put my seed trays, and when I pot up plants, I need to be able to just kind of keep them out of the general weather. I'm running out of room in my shop. I'll even say though, as far as it goes, the assembly of it wasn't too bad. The instructions are decent, but not crystal clear. One of the things I don't like about it already, and this is just me personally having 35 years of construction behind me, is that the nuts and bolts, they don't give you any lock washers. So all they give you is a nut. That's something I'll probably go back and alter from time to time. But if you happen to see this video and then purchase one, I'd probably recommend going ahead and buying the 1/4 inch lock washers first, so you can put them on these bolts as you put this thing together and then tighten it up. That way it would prevent it from kind of working back loose from you. But as far as I mean, obviously it's not tight yet, but the fact that they give you crossbars at every single place that you put it together, I'm actually more surprised. It's actually a little better built than I would have given it credit for at $160. So far, putting the frame together and seeing its kind of overall stability for the money, yes, I can safely say I'm liking it so far. I will say that a couple of the tubes came with bent ends, and that made a few sections a little rough, but it was only like 4 or 5 pieces. But at any rate, we got it together so far. So we're gonna carry on. The time it's taken us, video time, obviously I'm editing the video, so I'm speeding it up doing this, but the actual time it's taken us to get this far has been about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Now, also that's for minor break and or stopping and talking about it on the video. But so let's just call it 1 hour. It took 2 people to put it together. Can one person put this together? Yes, I probably could have, but it would have taken me a lot longer and a lot more frustration. So if you happen to want to buy one of these, and even if you have the skill to put it together, I would highly recommend if you can grab a second person. Even a third person wouldn't be bad, but as you can see, 2 people put it together reasonably well and quickly. So we're going to carry on. As you can tell in the shot, I have this weed barrier down. No, I didn't secure it down yet because I wanted to kind of get this thing together. But after all is said and done, I'll straighten out the weed barrier and then probably put some landscape staples in it or whatnot. I just didn't want a bunch of grass and stuff to have to cut a bunch of grass inside my greenhouse. So anyway, we're going to carry on. Just wanted to give you that quick update. All right, so we've got the greenhouse plastic on. As you probably caught in the video, we inadvertently put it on inside out the first time, so I had to take it back off, flip it around and put it back on. It wasn't too big a deal. Once we tightened up all the nuts on the bolts in the frame sturdied up a pretty good bit. Again, I just want to make a preface on this, is that this is from Beaver. It's only $160, so you can't expect, like for me, I'm doing farming and I'm doing it on a market size scale, and so this is just really temporary. It's to get me through. We're trying to get some hoop houses, or high tunnels if you will, through an NRCS grant, but that takes months to even get approved for the grant, and then you got more months before you get the, if you get approved, before you get the high tunnel and get it installed. So like I said, this is kind of a temporary structure. This seemed to be the best choice for the money. So my initial thoughts are, I don't exactly like the greenhouse plastic. I already knew it was going to be just Velcro little windows, if you will, to allow air in there for venting. They seem to be a little low for me. I would have rather them been higher to have the air move more. I guess in essence, when I'm looking at it and when I build my tables in there, they'll be about, give or take, the table height. So maybe they're designed that way on purpose to be about where your seedlings will be, which will be if you this table height here. They're held up with just these little, almost like ribbon ties. Those aren't very good, to be honest with you. There's only 4 little ribbon ties to hold the plastic down, on the greenhouse plastic onto the frame on either side. We can't, through the instructions, and there's no other ribbons, it doesn't seem to be any way to secure the bottom plastic. Now it does have kind of slits in it to where the flaps will, like 6 inches worth, will lay on the ground. And so what I'm going to do personally is I'm going to end up getting some treated 4x4s, and I'll drill a couple of holes in them at each end, and I'll put them in with some rebar just so they won't move. So basically I will secure the whole plastic and everything down with 4x4s. That's just going to be my solution. I have on the table in front of me all these pieces, parts that quite frankly aren't even in the instructions, and they don't logically go anywhere. Like we've looked and looked, we looked through the instruction 3, 4, 5 times. They just don't seem to have a place. Now, I'm sure they may for something, but I don't know what it is. Also, there are 4, if you'll notice here, there are 4 little straps that you can put this string through and then drive these little cheap stakes to kind of almost like you would do a tent. I'm not going to do that either. I'm going to create a different way, just because honestly these are just going to get in the way of cutting grass. They're going to be trip hazards. I'm not much into that. Plus it's about the thickness of a shoestring, so I don't know that it's going to hold much, to be blunt. So other than having no knowledge of what these parts are, and I'll be honest with you, if you happen to put one of these Vevers together and you found a reason for them, it was in your instruction manual, or maybe you just flat knew, please let me know in the comments. I don't know. Well, you don't know what you don't know, right? So I have no clue what they go to. They don't, like I said again, they don't make any common sense. But let's do a little quick walkthrough and then we'll just wrap up this video. All right, so here you can see we kind of straightened out our weed barrier on the ground. This will still allow water to go through when I'm watering the seedlings as I put tables, because I'm going to build almost end to end, probably 3 foot high, 2 feet deep kind of tables, and this will encompass both sides. And that way I have plenty of room to start seeds and have my seedling trays in here. You know, here we are, what, September, what day is it? September 9th, I think. And so we're getting cooler down here in the south. Our highs in the mid 80s, lows high 60s. So we're getting cooler, and that's a blessing. I'm sure that's still warm to some people, especially if you live up north, but down here it's a blessing when it gets to a high of 85, trust me. Now the ends, you'll see, here you'll see the ends. They're held up there. They have these little clips. You just kind of roll the doors up, and if you want to close these little doors, they're just little zipper doors. And as you can see down here what I'm talking about, this right here doesn't seem to have any way to secure it. For all I know, that's some of what those clips are supposed to be for. But if it is, they don't tell you, and I don't see how they would go on. So let me give you a little quick glimpse of the outside here. And you can see us walking through it. So like I said, it's 7 feet in the middle at its peak. It'll be comfortable enough to walk through. See, these are just little ribbon ties, just little fold up Velcro flaps. So it's nothing real fancy. It's certainly not, I don't see any great way to get the plastic tight, other than that's why I'm going to go ahead and eventually put those 4x4s down there so that I can draw it as tight as possible up there, because you can see that kind of wave and dip. You know that's just going to be a rain catch. It'll want to, it'll run off eventually, but some of it's going to want to try to dip the plastic. As far as it being greenhouse plastic, yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's thick enough. It's going to withstand probably a season or so. These probably aren't built to last, I don't think. But I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the fact that it's, you know, for 160 bucks, I have a 200 square foot area, 10 by 20, to build out these 2 tables and to I just have some good storage and grow space. This will do well for me because I'm right next to my pump house. So out of my pump house, I can draw water and I can draw a power so that I can operate fans and or a heater, and of course water my plants. So all right, well, there you have it as far as us putting this greenhouse together. Still some nuances to work out, a couple little kinks with that greenhouse plastic at the bottom, just to secure it a little better. Obviously I'm going to have to build my tables inside, and I'll just be building them out of 2x4 frames, and then probably using like 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch hardware cloth as the tops, so that I can have a good open mesh for the trays to drain. But again, I'm just going to iterate that for 160 bucks off of Beaver, I'm satisfied. Of course, it's not what I want long term for my farm. I need a lot more room than this provides, but this at least gives me something to get started with and cost effective. So even if it works for a season or so, that'll work just fine for my purposes. You got anything to add, sir?
It's pretty simple to put up.
Yeah, it is pretty simple to put up. Total time for us to put it up, right now it's got 2 hours and 20 minutes on our video. So take out some time for the video purposes and all, probably 1.5 hours, 1 hour and 45 minutes actual time.
Yeah.
So that's not terrible.
No.
Prayerfully and thankfully, it came with all the parts, so we didn't have to go hunting and you know, getting extra parts from somewhere. In fact, we got extra parts, but we didn't have to go chasing parts or call the manufacturer or anything like that. And to be honest, I took some pictures right before we started. This box came already open at one end, so I was very fearful that maybe some parts had fallen out, especially like the nuts and bolts package. But thankfully, all that was there. The instructions weren't terrible, but they weren't crystal clear either, just so you know. It comes with its own little Allen wrench and its own little wrench, which I'm pretty sure is 10 millimeter, to hold the nuts. Again, I would recommend you getting lock washers. I'm gonna probably go back and fix some of this, but you know, I'm thankful. I'm prayerfully thankful for this, and I know that it'll serve a purpose and just help me along the way. Coming up in other videos, I'm going to show you where we get the tractor trailer load of compost and converting to making basically 30-inch raised rows, 30-inch wide raised rows. So there'll be some videos coming up on that. And then we're going to be probably here in a month or so be going back to our build on our actual 2-foot high raised beds, and I'll be giving you some videos on that. I want to thank my son Joshua. He actually works full time. He happens to be off on Mondays and Tuesdays, and agreed to help me at least every Monday until we get a little further along, because he wants this to be something that he can get away from his job and be here on the farm at some point soon, we hope, for maybe a season or two. But yeah, so if you got anything helpful in the comments, please let me know. If not, I know we'll see you next time in a video, and if you would, do me a favor and please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I would greatly appreciate it. You are, again, just a tremendous blessing to us as a family, to us here on the farm, and we are just so thankful for you watching this video. Thanks so much for your time. Take care. God bless you. Have an amazing day in the Lord.